I gotta say, if there's anything worse than an Aussie sporting a Make America Great Again cap, it's one who thinks RFK Jr. is anything other than a raving loony.
Teenager today, an American teenager, has less testosterone than a 68-year-old man. Sperm counts are down.
For starters, he sounds like Emperor Palpatine with a sore throat.
Yes.
But he might be even more dangerous when it comes to influencing people to do things they know they shouldn't.
Do it.
Trump made RFK Jr. the Health Secretary of the United States, which I guess is kind of ironic given how many people are now likely to get sick after his latest decision.
Today, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced he is replacing the entire independent committee that advises the CDC on vaccine usage.
Measles is currently on the rise in America because of vaccine hesitancy, which is now only going to get worse. But what else can you expect from a bloke who once said a worm ate part of his brain? To that, I say, no shit.
Trump is using military forces to stop a protest. What kind of government it appears to be when every time we exercise our democratic right to protest, the military is deployed against us.
That's Grammy winner Doechii speaking today at an awards ceremony in Los Angeles while riots literally raged outside the building. Alan, what was your reaction to the news today that the Trump administration was intending to deploy US Marines in Los Angeles?
Incredulity, really, Ben. There are mechanisms in the United States to assist law enforcement agencies, and they are called the National Guard. Now, National Guard are military units, but they differ from the Army and the Air Force and the Navy in one very important respect, and that is that the National Guard are units that can be called out and used by state governors to assist the governors in the enforcement of state laws. The National Guard can be brought out by the president, but it's very, very rare for that to happen. So I was pretty shocked when I'd heard that not only has the president contemplated that wouldn't surprise any of us, but that he actually invoked Marines to come out to do the work of the National Guard under federal authority. That is extremely unusual.
LA Mayor Karen Bass has said today that she believes that Los Angeles and California is being used as a test case by the Trump administration. Those were her exact words.
I think she's right. I think that this is fairly typically a ploy of President Trump to push the boundaries as far as he can push them and to politicise, and dare I say it, weaponise virtually every political issue that comes in front of him where he's got a chance either to beat down the Democrats, and in this case Gavin Newsom is a Democrat governor, or to push the prospects of the Republican Party itself. So for Trump, everything is political.
Monash IVF is in damage control today, admitting to its second embryo transfer bungle.
Evie, is this something that people considering IVF should be concerned about?
Obviously, people will be concerned about the security of their genetic information and their family building plans. But these kind of errors are incredibly rare. And it's important to note that although two have hit the media in the space of a few months, the incidences themselves were several years apart. So there are very stringent controls to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen. But here we are seeing a couple of instances where human error has actually gotten through those safety protocols.
How would you describe the level of regulation in the IVF industry?
Well, Australia has very strict regulation, but I would like to see an independent body that doesn't have any financial interest in the services provided, that can rely on independent advice and also expert advice, which will engage these industry providers, of course, and making sure that the advice that we're actually putting forward is something that the public can trust, that they can absolutely say this was independent advice, this is policy and ethical guidance that has been brought about through collaboration with experts and not just an industry provider having its own sort of regulatory body.